So I reiterate here, the bill is dead.
The story of this great city is about the years before this night. We are free!
Hey, welcome to Ho Ho Hong Kong. I am Andy Curtin. I'm here with my man
Vivek Mabubane.
and we have a very special guest today, Alun Harford. Thank you for coming in
Well, thank you.
from Splash Hong Kong, the scuba diving premiere.
Not to be confused with Splash Splash Hong Kong.
If you guys want to find me online, I am at Andy Curtin on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Check me out on Instagram at FunnyVivek. Facebook is at FunnyVivek with the letter M.
And if you're enjoying the podcast, please hit subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. It helps a lot. So today we want to talk about scuba in Hong Kong, which Alan is the expert. We're going to talk about how does it rank up against other places in the world? What great things can you see here? Are there any wrecks in Hong Kong?
Exactly, and proper wreckages. And the most important thing is that we're already moist in Hong Kong with the heat and humidity. See if you like being wet better.
So how did you end up in Hong Kong, actually?
I was working in London and was working for a bank out there and kind of thought, okay. And partway through that, I was contracting, so I was doing 1 year contracts, and it got to the point where I couldn't carry on doing that anymore because of tax. And they said to me, if tax is a thing, then you could always go to Hong Kong. It's like, yeah, that'll work for 3 months.
Wow, do you
Here
like
we
that
are.
rich cultural heritage?
I mean, like, here we are in school studying hard, trying to get a good degree and everything. For my future, you're like, tax. That's my biggest barrier.
Yeah, I don't worry about paying too much tax because tax is a function of your total income.
Yeah. Hence the percentage is like, well,
And in absolute terms, I pay very little tax anywhere,
It's
actually.
like the amount of tax you would get would be less than the administration fee would take to actually calculate it for you. So they're like, you know what, just keep it. We don't have time for this stuff with you.
I just love, Vivek's obviously pretty proud of his city.
Yeah.
And you're like, which part of my city attracted you the
Yeah.
most? You're like, but I don't like paying tax.
Yeah, I would have been like, you wanted to come for the culture, the food. You're like, yeah, the tax is pretty good here. I'm like, wait, what?
I like having more money.
It's fair. I'd not been here until that point. So it's like, okay.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole, paying less tax here, is that not balanced out by, how expensive it is to live here? Do you really end up with more money?
That's how they
but
get you.
they didn't tell me that.
I think that's how they get you.
Yeah, they had that. Alan, I'm sure when you first got here, you're like, I'm going to save so much money with the less tax. And you're like, wait, how much for a drink? What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You're
there's
like,
that.
pure as what?
There's that 70% rental tax.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're like, God, don't worry, we won't tax you. It's a low tax haven,
Yeah.
but the rent is going to get you to the
Do you
point.
like
you're-
living under a bridge, or would you like to sleep with your elbows and your knees in your
Exactly.
face?
Both places, low taxes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you basically, they attracted you with low tax. It was good. You thought, okay, good opportunity. Let me try something new.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of seemed like, okay, I could go somewhere.
Yeah. And it's a place easy to pronounce as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very important.
And I thought I could go somewhere. Do you feel the pride for your city at the moment?
At this point, I'm looking at Alan going wow, I've had it all wrong. Here I am, standing up, going to places I'm from Hong Kong, guys. And turns out that's what they're thinking when they see me come out on stage. Like, oh, this guy pays little tax. This guy pays barely any tax.
So had you done scuba? What year did you come out here? How long ago are we talking?
Oh, 8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And had you done any scuba before that?
Yeah. So I started scuba diving when I was kind of 13-ish.
Wow. So 9 years ago?
Yes, but no.
So floating wasn't your thing. You're like, yeah, I'm good with this. Yeah.
No,
I'll go all the way.
Let's go down.
I've always been fascinated, scuba diving. I mean,
Have you done it?
snorkeling. I've done snorkeling, never scuba diving.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
no.
Yeah, that's a no. Yeah, exactly. So I've kind of put as much of my body in the water that physically or by physics allows myself, but I've not had the need to actually put a tank of oxygen on myself and say, I'm going to risk this one. You know why? Because I pay low taxes and I don't want to risk that.
You know what? It's weird because it's very fun and it's a very generally accepted activity, but it is kind of terrifying.
Yeah. You're putting yourself, you're drowning
I've done it a
yourself.
few times.
So Alan, was it something that when you did it the first time, it was just, it was easy? Or did the first time you had to overcome a few anxiety?
Well, you were 13.
Well, I was 13. When you're 13, you're indestructible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and there's no risk
I
associated.
think I
with
feel like
this
it'd
at
be easier when you're 13.
Yeah. Bliss,
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss. Right? Sometimes when you have no idea how gravity works, you're like, this is great. So 13 years old, you gave it a shot, and you're like, hey, I could do
all.
this.
Okay, I can do this. No, it
Oh.
was great, and like just being able to kind of go underwater
Yeah.
and like look at a reef, because it's pretty alien.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything.
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
you
really
can
respond
see.
to your staring at it, right? It's okay with that.
Yeah, it's happy with that.
Yeah.
I think alien's a good way to describe it as well because there's no sound or there's not much sound. So you
Yeah.
do kind of feel like you're in outer space.
Yeah, true.
A little bit, right?
Somewhat, yeah. There's no gravity to speak of in many ways.
There,
Well,
there you go.
there is, but there's buoyancy. So yeah, there's no gravity.
Different to the gravity we normally experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is Hong Kong a good place to scuba?
yeah. I always enjoy it.
And you do it a lot, right?
I do it a lot.
But you have to get quite far out because, like, when I go to the beaches, I'm like, I'm keeping as much of my body out of this, and you're just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go all the way in.
So you want to kind of head on the east side of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So
New
if
territories?
If you could, yeah, new territories.
This is Andy's
I
Hong
wasn't
Kong
even
knowledge.
all right. You know what? I saw a map one
He goes
time.
east side, and I'm thinking like Lantau, Macau direction, and you're like, new territories. I'm
Dude.
like, that's north, dude.
Lantau's in the west.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, see, Andy's winning.
Oh, oh man. You see?
Wow.
So this
Look
is
at
like
you trying to call me out. Like, look at this idiot. You don't even know what
Oh,
a compass
man.
looks like.
So this is the deal, right? So it turns out I'm lacking oxygen on land already.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't believe you hit me with that. And you thought Lantau was in the east of Hong Kong.
Oh my God! Here I am thinking like east is to my left, right? I know what I'm talking about. Oh.
So yeah,
Okay,
I
go
know
on, yeah.
new territories. We don't have the new territories.
yeah. Okay, so eastern side, you told my Kwun Tong area further up north.
So
Sai
further up
Kung.
north, so Sai Kung and kind of north of Sai Kung. So if you ever got out to the beaches in Dai Wan, for
Yeah.
example, like you'd see that actually the water's a lot clearer there. Like it's quite nice. You can look around.
Clearwater Bay, I
Yeah,
believe, has pretty clear water.
Ironically, yes.
So is that really the only? You'd only go to the east. You wouldn't go like anywhere. So for example, like Lama, like anywhere around there wouldn't be scuba
There's some nice scuba diving on the south side of Hong Kong.
on the Hong Kong Island.
On the
South
south
side.
side of Hong Kong Island.
That's amazing.
yeah,
what do you,
Repulse Bay side. I know that part.
dude? Repulse Bay is gross.
Well, it depends which part of it you're looking at.
Repulsive Bay. Let's be honest. It is. People are like, it was so great to be in Repulse Bay. I went out there with Ryan. I was just like, this is just urine and trash.
But what you need to go all the way down to Stanley and go further deeper into where people aren't
Sheko, what is it? The Big Wave Bay. That is great.
Yeah.
that's really good. Is that where you're talking
Yeah,
for
it's down
scuba?
yeah,
there.
that kind of area, kind of just south of Stanley.
That's like Thailand.
There's some nice bits there.
Yeah.
But then-
But generally, the best diving in Hong Kong is on the east side.
what
East
makes
Hong
good diving?
Kong. Nice clear water and lots of things to see.
Right. Okay.
That's good.
And is water clarity an issue around Hong Kong Island? Is it like?
Sometimes. So in Hong Kong, if you go and you dive in kind of areas of the world that are renowned for their kind of world-class diving, so you go to the Philippines or you go to Indonesia, like you have 100% chance basically that the water quality and the water visibility is going to be like fantastic every day. In Hong Kong, 10% of the time it'll be fantastic. 10% of the time it'll be terrible. And 80% of the time it'll be somewhere in between.
Even in the new territories, it's like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Right, okay. That's interesting.
So during what seasons are the better times to go scuba diving though, in Hong Kong at least?
And so you can do it the whole year round.
Yeah.
Generally, I quite like water that's warm enough to
Okay,
be
so
warm.
summerish time.
So the summerish time is quite good. Now is quite good. As we get kind of towards November,
Yeah.
it starts to get cold. At that point, in normal circumstances, you need a piece of equipment
Yeah.
to go diving called
To
a
stay-
boarding pass.
Wait, a boarding
that
pass?
works really well. Yeah.
What does that
There's
do?
a piece of equipment called.
Yep.
What does it do?
It gets you onto a plane so that you can go somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
It's warmer.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was so engrossed in Alan stuff. I was like, dude, this is
I was
insane.
like, it's like a board that keeps you warm or something? Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I was thinking like boarding school. I'm
Yeah,
like, you mean like wraps around you stay within
Okay,
it.
cool. I'm
Okay.
glad that joke didn't work at all.
See, the problem is that we were like so engrossed in this. I'm like, okay, so I get a boarding pass. Okay, clearly he's talking about something about scuba diving I know nothing about. I don't even know which side is east and west, Alan.
Yeah,
How
true,
dare I
true.
even challenge you on boarding passes? Okay, so basically, get out of Hong Kong if you want to go scuba diving from November to let's say May onwards.
You can dive in Hong Kong colder than that, but
Yeah.
you start to need a dry suit.
Okay.
And they're expensive, and it's only 2 months.
Yes.
So, you know,
Already worth it. Yeah.
save money,
Yeah.
go to a different country.
Isn't
Like,
that
we're
incredible,
coming
though?
back
It's like
to that.
cheaper to just go to the Philippines.
So,
It's like just cheaper to go to the Philippines. Or
at the minute,
where would you go?
At the minute, yeah.
Well,
it is- it
by the
is
way, we're
cheaper,
saying this
yeah.
in the context of never ever being able to fly again. So
yeah. Or, no, you can fly, but I mean, you're going to be wasting 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. You're going to be stuck at home. And I was just talking to Alan earlier on, like 2 weeks in Hong Kong is way longer than 2 weeks in anywhere else. Like the amount of work you normally do within 2 weeks here, to be told that you're not stay in your room for 2 weeks is like, what?
Well, also like Hong Kong's a city where you need to be outside
yeah.
because our apartments are so freaking small.
Exactly. So I'm curious, if I have a bathtub, is that a good way to start with the whole scuba diving thing? Like I
It's
don't
a
have
good way
a
to learn how to use a compass.
I blame my math teacher for some reason. So I'm curious. I've never done scuba diving before. I don't even know if I'm good with like being deep inside water. How do I kind of beginner step?
okay. So I'd say the first thing to do is go snorkeling.
I've done.
Make sure
Done.
that you can snorkel.
I can-
Make
I
sure
can-
that, can you swim?
Yes, I can swim. I can
Cool.
stay
Then
buoyant.
you can go scuba diving.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah.
I'm qualified.
No, you want to then go and like enroll on a course.
Oh, okay.
To learn, like, okay, how to do this safely. The
Okay.
actual content of, okay, can I go scuba diving? It's really easy. You
Yeah.
put the thing in your mouth, breathe in, breathe out,
Yeah.
breathe in, breathe out. Like, it's not hard.
Yes.
The course is primarily about making sure that all of the safety procedures are followed, and you don't,
Freak
if
out.
something fails,
You freak out. Freaking out's like a big thing,
okay.
right?
Yeah, freaking out is not a great plan.
I
Yeah.
feel like this, like, I know you know way more than me, but I'm just going to say this. But, like, I feel like a critical skill is just not freaking out. Like, controlling your emotions.
Yeah.
I think it's about being used to it. Right. So
Okay.
if you go, okay, I'm going to go and like pick up some scuba diving gear and jump straight in the sea, and like I'm just going to drop down to really, really deep, then yeah, there's a fairly high risk you're going to freak out.
Okay. Yeah. Because the pressure and everything, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just like, I don't know. For me, it's like you get a thought in your head like, oh, do I have enough oxygen?
Yeah. Just
And so
what
then you
if I
start
don't,
like
can I get
having,
back up?
you start not breathing, or you're like, I don't know. You just start to be like, I remember. So I've done it maybe like 6 times now, but I'm real lazy, so I never got the training. I just do the discovery dive all the time. Like I just keep doing discovery
Yeah.
dives.
Yeah.
And I was in Boracay in the Philippines, and it was pretty funny. I'd been living in Shanghai a couple of years, and I was like, I need to get away from China. I need a break from China. So I go out to the Philippines, and I go scuba diving, and I scuba to the bottom of the ocean, and there's just a bunch of Chinese people taking photos.
At the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, and I was just like, really?
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 That's where they are.
It was
The
so
question
funny.
were they selfies?
Yeah, they were. That's what they were doing, dude. They were set up in formation,
Yeah.
taking a selfie underwater.
Oh man.
And whatever, I didn't really care, but it was just funny. But I was there with my buddy, and we're like, okay, we want to scuba dive twice. And so we did it the first day, and then we were like, we'll have a day off, and then on the third day when we're flying, we'll do scuba again. Yeah, see the problem with this story?
yeah.
Can't fly when you do same day as you do scuba. So we found out about that on the off day late, and we're like, oh man, we got to try and get one more in today. It was late afternoon, and if you've ever been to Boracay before, it's like bar, dive shop. So we're just running into places, being, can we go? And some guy's like, I'll take you out. And then we're on the boat, and like as we're close to the place,
Yeah,
he's
that's
like, have you
totally the
guys...
safest way to do it?
He was like, have you guys done scuba diving before? We're like, yesterday. And he's like, oh, okay. And he geared us all up. And then we just jumped in. Now, here's the thing I didn't know. The first time you do scuba, at least for me, they take you in like just under the water and there's a rope and you descend slowly. The second time,
Yeah.
they don't do that. You go straight to the bottom. And like you go so quickly, it's just the way that it works because things got no air in it. You just go straight down. And
Yeah.
I just was like, oh my God, we're on the bottom of the ocean. Like, like I didn't even realize. And it was quite late. So as it started to get a bit dark, you couldn't see the surface
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
water. And there was a lot of moments where I was just like,
Were you thinking of any movies while you were like drowning?
yeah, Jaws. What's the one where Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten by a shark? I don't know.
Oh, Snakes on... No, that's Snakes on...
Snakes on a plane.
Wait, I was like, hold on a second. That's the first one that popped in my head. I'm like, wait, that's just from the title.
Of all the movies of Samuel L. Jackson, you guess the one where the name clearly identifies that it's both snakes and not sharks, and in a plane, a place
Yeah.
where they would never be shot.
I feel like my level of knowledge today feels like a guy who went scuba diving yesterday, so my oxygen
Yeah.
is just like lacking. East is west, west is east, snakes are sharks.
So and then the next time I went was in Seychelles, and again I went down and they gave me crappy goggles, and the goggles kept filling with water, and like I know how to do it, but I just forgot to hold the top, so I was just kind of blowing, and it just kept getting in my eyes. I kept getting water in my eyes, and it was like, yeah, it was really like just putting me in a feeling of danger.
All
Like,
right,
you
so-
must have seen people freak out millions of times, right?
Not millions of times. I mean, so when I teach, we always start off in a pool. So we make sure that everybody's happy in a swimming pool. And you start off by...
Who's not happy in a swimming pool?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's where people are... Anyway.
That's where you kind of like
you
vet
can
out
filter
the,
them out.
the easily
You see, scuba
freaked.
diving is just like
The total freakouts tend to happen when people are kneeling in shallow water.
Really?
Just like, oh, okay, then stand up. Okay, we're good.
go
which
figure.
is-
I would have never thought that.
That's where you want them. Like,
Yeah, because it's easy to just pull them out.
yeah. Like, okay, let's stand up. Okay,
Wow.
we're sorted.
What's like the best freak out you've witnessed?
Oh, the best. Okay. So I had just qualified as an instructor and was teaching my first course.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, okay, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be good fun, and we're going to do this. And one person was a little bit nervous and had some difficulty, and like we're working through that. And then kind of headed down into the deep end of the pool. At that point, they got a little bit of water in their mask. And they're like, okay, rather than like blow it out of the mask, I'm going to rip my mask off.
Oh,
Okay, that's maybe not the best thing to do. Okay. And then spit the regulator out. All right, that's okay. You're apparently trying to drown yourself. Okay. So
How deep are we talking?
Oh, we weren't very deep. We're only 3 meters or so.
3 meters down. Okay, so it's not like a place that you don't want to have.
yeah.
You
But
can
still,
it's not like they can just lift their head out of the water.
yeah.
But that's why there's an instructor there. That's why they kind of come along, and like it is something that you practice as this could happen.
Yeah.
And therefore, like you need to.
What do
make
you
sure
do in
the
that situation?
instructor is- you basically grab hold of them, put a regulator into their mouth so they can breathe again, and take them up to the surface as quickly as it's safe to.
3 meters, you can just go straight up, right?
Pretty much, you shouldn't go up faster than 18 meters per minute. So, as a result, it's going to take you, like 10 seconds to get to the surface.
You can't go up faster than twice
I feel
as
like I
much
could
as gravity.
swim to 3 meters.
Yeah, I couldn't even
Yeah.
swim 80 meters per second. I couldn't even do that speed. So
No, but like I could swim to 3 meters and get up in less than 10 seconds, I reckon.
Yeah.
But
But
is-
you don't want to go faster than that, and you don't want to hold your breath. Like the most important thing in scuba diving is that
You want to be slowly letting your breath out or whatever. No, that's what it is.
yeah. Well, you know what? The whole time I'm listening to this and like the whole it really like scuba diving literally sounds like stand up again. Like everything I'm connected to stand up.
No,
is like,
here's the difference.
Yeah.
You can die doing scuba diving.
Yeah.
Like your fear of death is
Yeah.
completely justified.
yeah.
People
I mean-
die scuba diving.
Yeah, true. I mean, with stand-up, you die on stage, and kind of after that, you kind of die within your life, where you're like, I don't
Yeah,
wanna
you
do this
may
anymore.
become pathetic if you do stand up.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. The only difference is that when you're dying on stage, no one's coming up here to put a regulator in your mouth. right? With comedy.
That would be funny.
Actually, I can think of a fair few comedians who have died on stage.
Yeah.
Like,
no one can-
literally
no
died
instructor.
on stage.
Yeah, come on.
so-
There's like 4 of them or something. It's not a huge
Yeah.
number.
But there aren't that many like stand-up comedians performing,
Yeah, in general.
and there's quite a lot of people
No,
dying.
hang on a second. So the suggestion here is that the percentage of people dying doing stand-up is comparable to scuba diving.
It's interesting.
Question your credentials, sir.
Fair enough. No,
Well-
it's interesting. Like statistically,
Yeah.
scuba diving is about as dangerous as running. Now,
Really?
Running in general or running
Oh,
away
man.
from stuff?
well,
yeah. Running
Because
where?
it's different. I mean, if you're just running in general, then it's like, okay, fair enough. But if you're running away from stuff, you're kind of looking back,
Yeah.
forward, you're going to hit your head at something.
it's more people being hit by cars, people having
Yeah.
heart attacks.
So
people,
basically, the people who decide to run on real paths rather than the treadmill, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well,
'Cause
yeah, running through the Iraq, but
Yeah. I mean, what I do is actually like I have like at the gym, the treadmills have a big TV screen too. You can be in a different world. So I kind of put some scary zombie. They have the zombie running things
that's
now.
very Hong Kong.
Yeah.
that's the most Hong Kong thing I've ever heard.
Well, I mean, because it's easier that way. If you
Wait,
wanna
you're running from the zombie?
yeah,
Is that really a thing?
they have a thing.
But
yeah.
isn't the
Hang
screen
on,
in
if
front
the
of you?
screen's in front of you, how do you run away from the? You've got to be running to the zombies.
Yeah.
or
Well,
it's just a blank screen in front of you.
I think-
Wait,
and they
let me
tell
get. I
you
think I
there's
figured it
zombies
out.
behind.
The zombies are running from you, Vivek.
Wait, now that you
Right.
put it that way, I'm like, oh, I think you got it. I think that's what it's all about. It's like I can't. I'm like, I'm gonna get you.
I'm genuinely curious.
No, they actually have like the zombie chasing thing where it'll tell you on the earphone where it's like, okay, they're coming after you. Start running. I'm like, oh, okay.
That is
Let me
the
get it.
most Hong Kong thing I've ever heard.
No, 'cause, like the reason I do that is because if should halfway through I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to run anymore. I can stop, and I don't have to travel all the way back and everything. I'm just, I'm there. It's
Does
more
one of the
efficient.
people at the gym then come up behind you with an axe and eat your brains?
No, they send me my membership bill, and I'm like, that hurts even more, man.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
then I'm fine with that one. No, but so scuba diving, the thing is that once people get over that initial fear, so you have some guys who just freak out and they do crazy stuff like pulling off the mask or the respirator, but then in the real like deep sea thing, are there people who kind of fake that they know what they're doing, but when they get in the water, they kind of freak out? I mean, you have the extroverts for comedy, right? Where they're like, oh, I'm a fun guy, my friend thinks I'm funny. And they go on stage and completely bomb. We're just like, this guy is terrible. Why is he even here? Do you get some of those guys who think they're too cool and they're like, yeah, I know this stuff's easy, breathe in, breathe out, I can do that.
Well, generally, you have to have some kind of certification to go diving.
Yeah. But you can
and
fake that stuff, right?
You could do.
Yeah, I have a
I've
printer.
not come across.
Anyone.
Generally, it's authenticated through somebody. So,
So it's kind of referral.
So with your name and date of birth, I can go and check.
Oh, that's
Okay,
exclusive.
what courses have you done, and like what diving have you done?
I feel like we
hopefully?
should do that for comedy, man. When people
Yeah.
come up, hey, I'm from this place, I've done comedy before. We should do what Alan does. Like
Someone
background
talked
check.
about that. No, there was someone, they were talking in the group the other day, they were saying that someone tried to introduce the idea that you had to do a test to be certified as
Comedy?
a comedian and that you could get work out of that.
Ah,
And it was
that's
like,
a good idea.
yeah, it's a terrible idea.
Oh man. Well, I mean, from a business point of view, that's great because then that way I
It's
have a
good
little-
for the idea of the guy
Yeah.
that's creating it, but
And then they have to renew every 2 years. Like all certification. Like after 2 years, are you still funny? Let's check. Let's put you in the test. You're in
I
the
don't,
situation.
too many people are going to fail that test.
No, because think about it. Okay, so just like the scuba diving thing, you have to start off people, with the shallow side, snorkel first and go scuba diving. Same with comedy, right? You sit at home, you write that bit, you submit it in, and then maybe do like a selfie video, submit it in, and you go to open mic. And when you pass those 3 levels, you get a certification, which then you can take around the world and say, hey, the Rift certifies that I have the potential ability to be funny for at least 3 minutes or above.
3 minutes or above.
Yeah.
What a selling point. What a thing to market.
No, I mean, to be fair,
4 minutes,
I'd like
not there
you-
yet.
This person has a joke, a joke.
A joke,
A
yeah,
joke.
right.
Like you just need to set a minimum level. We don't need a professional.
That's the Patty level one of comedy.
Yeah.
Can you tell a joke?
Yeah.
So I got another freak out story from my scuba. So I went scuba diving in Seychelles actually in a couple of different places, and it was my wife's first time, and she was freaking out. Like she was just like, I don't know, I can do this, and I was. It was kind of cool because the instructor really focused on her, and I kind of got to feel like I was doing it by myself for the first time, and that place was beautiful. And so I started to get a little bit confident, and I swam down between two sort of rock faces and just glanced my ankle, and I looked down, and like a puff of blood just... It's just like
Whoa,
little...
under the water.
Yeah,
So
it
you
wasn't
can see,
like...
the kind of...
Dude, it was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
With the blood, it's not running on the skin. It just
Yeah.
like puffs out into
Yeah.
the water.
Wow.
And
like a little
dude, I
jellyfish.
swear to God.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I looked at it, and then I looked at the instructor, and they did the hand on the head, which
Yeah.
means there's a shark.
Oh, baby shark.
And I was like, okay, this is how I die. This is
So
it.
you're bleeding, puffing out blood. and
Dude,
you're
I'm
shark
like,
on the
there's
way.
blood, there's sharks here. I'm on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how it goes.
That reminds me of that Samuel L. Jackson movie with sharks.
I believe it was called Sharks on a Plane.
That was a good movie, man. 'cause, like, they were
The
they were
Long
mother
Shark
tooting-
Good Night, was
Yeah.
it?
I mean,
Pulp Sharks.
shooting sharks on that plain ocean.
So anyway, I'm like darting around, looking around, and the shark was maybe a meter long, just sitting there. And I was like, oh, I think I can take him. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to live to swim another day.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to live to watch another Samuel L. Jackson movie. But again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a pansy, but I feel like the whole process involved me freaking out a lot.
Okay.
But what did the shark do? Nothing?
The shark was like, "Ew,
Were you
this
a
guy
bit
doesn't look
disappointed? You were like, oh, I
The,
hope
the
the story
shark,
doesn't
the
have a
sharks went, ew.
big-" Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't like my blood.
Blood
And that is the thing. Like, people say like, "Oh, sharks can smell your blood from a mile away." It's like, yeah, that's probably true.
Really? Oh.
I can smell a garbage dump from a mile away.
True.
I don't want to eat it though.
Yeah.
Are you calling me a garbage dump, Al?
Yes, yes, I am. I didn't mean to, but that's what I've done.
So it turns out your wife wasn't freaking out as much as you then at the end.
No, she was chill. Dude, she is like any big deal. She's always
Yeah.
just like, I'm fine.
Yeah. Nice.
And then the next time
Yeah.
I went was Thailand, and I took her mum, and her mum doesn't speak English, right? So we're like, we're gonna get this instruction in English. So I made her watch all these like scuba diving instructional videos in Russian,
Yeah.
so that she could be like, yeah, I get it, and know what to do, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get there, and I said, look, she don't really speak much English, and he's like, can you translate? I was like, I'll try. And he's telling me all these like technical instructions in scuba, and I'm like looking at her like, okay, holding breath bad, breathing good, yeah, we're fine. And she was again, these Russians, you can't fault them.
You've
She
got,
got
like-
in the water. It took her a little while to get comfortable. Once she was comfortable, it was good.
Yeah.
But it is just, I don't know. I just found it to be, it's an overwhelming thing because you're just used to it now. It's like you say, you're used to it. You forget what it's like to be getting down there for the first time.
I don't think you really forget. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's great.
What can you see around Hong Kong? Can you see sharks?
Occasionally there are sharks.
You've seen sharks around Hong Kong.
I've not seen sharks around Hong Kong. I've had allegations of sharks around Hong Kong.
I thought you were about to say you've had
Yeah,
alligators. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
never getting in the
whoa.
water again.
That's like that Samuel L. Jackson movie with alligators. Okay. But I've heard, there are sharks around Hong Kong, but usually smaller ones, right? They aren't the big
So
Hollywood level
there are
ones.
small ones. There's also some tiger sharks around Hong
Okay.
Kong.
Tiger sharks aren't small.
And whale sharks sometimes migrate through here.
Giants, right?
I know
they're
Garupa.
huge.
I know that. I know
Yeah.
Garupa. I know sea bass. Because
What?
I know from the menus, like I know those.
Have
fish,
you
like,
been like going through the freezer? Is that
I love this guy. He's like, my knowledge of what's in the water is what I saw at the wet market.
Yeah, it is, man. Like I literally, it's like I know like Garupa, sea bass,
fish
filet o
sticks?
fish. I know that
Yeah.
one. And honestly, like, look, I'm not a big nature guy. Mostly because, again, like I said, when I get to the beach, I'm like, okay, I see the water, and I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm brown enough. I'm good. I don't have to be the same color as this. So I avoid that. And I'm not a big scuba diving guy because, again, I'm like, I like breathing, and I have a bathtub, so I can do that myself. At the same time,
Also, you have a bathtub?
Actually, no, my old place did. This new place does it. So that's why I'm interested now. But back then, I'm like, you amateurs going out with the boat certification.
I was like, damn, this motherfucker's got a bathtub.
Not anymore, man. When they raise the red, I'm like, I'm out of here, man. I can't do this stuff anymore.
So you say that the new territories, that's where the good stuff to see. What do you want to see? What can you see? Are there any?
So you can see some. So I recently saw some really nice big rays, so kind of 2.5 meter cross butterfly rays.
That's huge.
They're pretty awesome in terms of big stuff. I mean, Hong Kong has because 2 ocean currents meet here, one coming down from Taiwan and one coming up from the Philippines. Where they meet, you get loads and loads of different marine diversity.
So that area, that patch with the water meets, it belongs to China?
Yeah.
Well,
all of the things he
Hong
just
Kong.
mentioned belong to China.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I'm putting it at 1 + 1.
Taiwan, China. The Philippines, China.
I just wanna
Water,
clarify
China.
that. Yeah, I agree that it does belong to them. Just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I'm glad he clarified that. So
Okay.
What can you
because
see?
they meet here, like 80% of the species in China are in Hong Kong.
Same thing. China
yeah.
and Hong Kong. Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah. Okay, so
but
80%.
Hong Kong is smaller than all of China. I
Yeah.
think we
We
can
can,
definitely agree with
yes,
agree on
yes.
that.
For now.
80% of the species are here, which is
Really?
which is great.
Is that
That
because is that because they ate the rest of them?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is overfished.
Come on,
right?
let's
go there, people.
No,
I mean, that's
I'm
so-
serious. Did they not I've seen documentaries about wildlife in China. They fucking have eaten a lot of the.
They just want to send all their precious wildlife to Hong Kong, and for the tax purposes.
But like,
true.
I remember they
That
had
works quite well.
they
Yeah.
had dolphins and stuff in like rivers in
Oh, the pink
China, and they just
dolphins?
ate them all.
Yeah, could be. It's possible. I mean, like, then again,
Dude, the destruction of wildlife is, especially for food, is like a pretty common theme.
yeah.
I mean, it's like when you say 80% of them are in Hong Kong, I'm not thinking Hong Kong's special. I'm thinking it's special because like
They avoided.
they're trying to protect it at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might be up to 82 in a few years.
Yeah, it's going to go up.
I was like, wait a second, this number doesn't make sense. What is going on?
So yeah,
So there's loads of stuff around. Like if you kind of want to look underneath rocks and that kind of stuff because it's
is there a reef around here?
Yeah, there's reef. So there's coral reef up near Sai Kung.
Oh.
And the WWF has a nice little coral sanctuary that they
The wrestlers?
help. Yeah.
You know what? Under the ocean, you know what they have? The Rock.
Ah,
Hey,
God. Go back to Samuel L. Jackson. Jesus.
Well, he will star in the Rock's movie in the future anyway.
That reference was worse than you thinking that land towers in the east.
Okay. So the WF has the little coral conservatory but then I'm sure then a lot of students must be having like trips where they go out and learn the stuff as a school tour.
So a lot of schools will do that. Also, some of the schools will kind of organize.
Man, I went to
with them.
I should have joined these activities. I remember in school they would be like, anybody want to join? I'm like, shh, why would I do that? That's extra classwork. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. Now I'm just like, man, because I don't have a bathtub anymore, so I kind of feel left out already.
No, I can understand that. I can understand that you'd feel left out. If you don't have a bathtub, you need to go and look at coral in the sea.
Yeah, exactly. I would need to look at something because, like, I've been thinking. Okay, so for example, some people told me for scuba diving, the good thing is that peacefulness that you have under the ocean, where you're like kind of alone, you can hear your own breath a little bit, and you have. And I'm just like, look, I have like noise canceling headphones and a Spotify Premium account. I can do that. Like people need to sell me more about this whole scuba diving thing.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Alan with the sales pitch. Let's do this.
Dude,
Convince
the sales pitch so far, all I've heard was 10% of the time it's good. That's all I've heard so far.
me. Yeah, that's what I'm just like. Wait, I think I'm onto something, man.
Dude, that one number, I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like here I am thinking, because like last time I was telling Andy, I was like, dude, if I get a good monitor, like a good 4K up to 8K monitor, and I put my face close enough with earphones and everything, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm there,
Yeah.
right? And with Hong Kong humidity, I'm wet as well, so that kind of works out. But I'm really curious, like someone like, let's say myself, right, who's just like, nah, not really interested. Would you want to kind of convince, like, no, I'm just saying, like, for example, some people, like, let's say some people who are really into stand-up, they're like, dude, you got to try this stuff, man. It's a lot of fun, dude. And like, come with me. I'll take you. I'll lead you, you know. Would you be that type of person, like an advocate to convince more people to try it out?
He's an instructor.
Yeah, but I mean, it should he could be the type of guy that if you want to do it, fine. If you don't want, I won't force you. But some people are like, evangelists. Like, dude, you're missing out on life, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, would you see someone like myself and go like, this guy's missing out on the good stuff?
I mean, you are missing out on life. I mean, it is true.
Straight up, Alan, no mercy.
The question is how much I mind the fact that you're missing out on life.
Does Alan care that Vivek is wasting his life getting chased by fictional zombies?
In the bath.
In the east side of Hong Kong, Lantau, right? Okay, so are you the type of person that sees someone and be like, dude, trust me, you're going to
need this in your life.
Yeah, you need this in your life. Are you that type of guy?
Not really, no.
Well, there we go. Thanks
you
for
do
coming
need
on the
it in your
podcast.
life. You do need it in your life.
Yeah, okay.
But you're obviously pretty passionate about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like,
So you would say it's like it's something you would basically tell someone, hey, give it one try in your life. It's worth that one experience at least.
Yes.
I say that about stand-up. It's like, just do it once. See if it's for
yeah,
you.
Me too. I tell people, I'm like, because I would love, especially all my friends who are like the talkative type. I'm like, dude, you got to try stand-up.
Yeah, so I can watch you realize you're not funny.
Yeah. The type of guy who gets all the girls. I'm like, I want to see you up there for once where I'm just like, oh, you couldn't do what I could do.
Oh, my
Huh.
God. When
Yeah.
people are like, I'm more funny around people, it's
Yeah.
like, you can't do stand-up.
Yeah, you can't buy. So let me ask you this, though. Have there been situations where couples gone for scuba diving and you can clearly see the disparity between the two skill level, or like their issues where, one side wants to do much more, the other doesn't want to. The dynamics of friends who are like, oh, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. And do you have to deal with that psychology as
Yeah,
well?
I mean, sometimes, if people go on a course to go and learn scuba diving,
Yeah.
and they don't want to learn scuba diving,
Yeah.
but they're doing it because somebody else wants them to learn scuba diving,
Yeah.
that's always going to be more difficult to teach.
So there are such cases, right?
Oh, yeah, there are such cases.
Really? Oh, okay. Because I would have thought like scuba diving is like you should be willing and want to do it, not just like fine, we'll go do it.
I feel like it's one of those activities where people can be like, we need to save our marriage.
Yeah, let's go scuba diving. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a casual thing. Fine, let's give it a try. Right? Oh, fine, I'll go on the roller coaster.
Well,
with you.
it depends where you are. Like, if you're in Thailand
Yeah.
and you get to your hotel and you say to the front desk, what can we do?
Yeah.
And they're like, so you'd go scuba diving?
Yeah.
There's, or ride an elephant. So
Yeah.
I'll go scuba diving.
Because you can. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. All right. I was gonna say you can ride the elephant in the hotel room, but all right, whatever.
Wow.
Well, you're in
That's,
Thailand. Let's be honest. I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff happens. But all right, so
Not when I go to Thailand. We have a couple of questions from the podcast group. Question from Floyd. He said, Hong Kong is not really known as a diving destination. There's sites worth visiting, and how does it compare to other places that you might scuba dive in the region?
Okay. So Hong Kong is good. I would put Hong Kong as like a solid 8 out of 10.
Wow, that's
Really?
great.
As a location to go diving.
I am so happy I just heard that. I mean, we have low
Dude, I'm
taxes.
back
and
in.
It's great for
Yeah.
diving.
I'm back
Alan,
in.
You're the man.
I'm back in.
Hong Kong Tourism Board. Hello, have you met this person? You need to talk to Alan right now.
What?
mean, it's not exactly a sales pitch because I'm not going, it's 10 out of 10. But it's
No,
a nice,
your
it's
honesty.
a nice, solid
Your
gig.
honesty. If you said 10 out of 10, no,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm on
like-
board. I'm back in.
Yeah.
What's a 10 in the region?
Oh, so parts of the Philippines are kind of world class.
Palau or whatever.
Palau is fantastic. Truk is fantastic. Like the area around Micronesia is just absolutely wonderful. So there are kind of world-class locations where people go and...
So to be an 8 in this area, the 10s are legitimate 10s.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm wearing 8, dude. I'm really happy. I'm actually interested now. The fact that you're telling me like what I see on the surface at the beach, I'm like, it's not an 8, man. But the fact that you're telling me that's an 8 when you go into deeper outside and go deeper inside, and I'm like, okay, this is something I could think about. Okay, so what's the duration of basically? Let's say right now I'm like, I'm sold. I want to try scuba diving. After how long or how much work do I have to do before I can get into that 8 out of 10 quality water in Hong Kong?
Oh,
Okay.
good question.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So the kind of shortest way
Yes.
would be to do what's called Discover Scuba Diving,
Okay.
which is the shortest course. And so what we do is we kind of take you to a pool
Yeah.
and spend half a day in the pool making sure that you're safe and comfortable.
Yes.
And then somebody will go out with you.
And when you say pool, like what type of pool are you talking about? Like,
Like a swimming pool.
other people swimming around you kind of pool?
No, so we'll rent kind of the
like a-
pool and
Okay.
have
Okay.
a group of divers who'll go and learn.
Okay.
But you can go down to 10 meters. Discovery's I'm not just that lazy. Discovery's really good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Okay.
And the difference is that somebody will always have to be there to look after you.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like-
yeah, you gotta.
So they've always got to physically be holding on to you. They've always got to make sure that they're checking, okay, how much gas does this person have? Is there any problems?
Are they like strapped on?
no one ever did that to me, by the way.
Yeah, it did sound quite dodgy.
Is it
I mean,
like
maybe you shouldn't.
3 different countries, no one did that to me.
Yeah,
once.
maybe you shouldn't be going, okay, how do I go scuba diving? What I'm going to do is I'm going to run around late at night going, will anybody take me scuba diving?
Hey, it worked.
But this thing, like the instructor is separate. They're not like tandem scuba diving, like skydiving.
Well, it sounds like it's
they're
almost
separate,
tandem.
but they need to be physically holding on to you.
Oh, okay.
And making sure that you're safe.
Oh, okay. So discovery is diving. That's okay.
Question from Peter. He said, "Are there big variation in the equipment quality between shops? Are there safe shops and unsafe shops? Like, how are the different? Are there many different operators in Hong Kong? So you're from Splash, Hong Kong, right?
Yes.
And they're the premier, best of the best.
Yep.
How does everyone else stack up against Splash?
Generally pretty good. Equipment quality is generally not an issue. How new the equipment is and how comfortable the equipment is might be kind of more of an issue, but everybody meets the basic level of being safe. Before I was instructing, I obviously did quite a lot of diving in Hong Kong, and so I've kind of tried a few of the operators out, and just like went and saw, okay, who's got a nice boat, who's got nice equipment that's in new condition, that's comfortable and easy to use, and that's kind of what kind of drove me towards Splash, and then that's what drove me towards instructing through Splash. But there are lots of operators in Hong Kong, and I've never seen any operators that were unsafe. It's just I would prefer to have a bit more time, a bit kind of closer, a closer relationship with my students. So, like, instead of having a group of, say, 8 people to look after, I'd prefer to have a group of kind of four students at most. I don't want to have more than 4 students at a time. So it's kind of making sure that, okay, everybody is happy, not just that everybody's safe, but that everybody's enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's also a headache for you watching 8 people, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, could I keep 8 people safe? Probably. Do I want to try? No. Could I make sure that 8 people all have great fun? No. But I can make sure that like 4 people are safe and have fun, and that we can do the course and like, all of that kind of good stuff.
Okay, so if I were, let's say, I tried scuba diving, I was like, it's too intense for myself. Snorkeling is the second best thing to scuba diving, right? If I want to be somewhere close to that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
You can see quite a
So
lot of
different
good
levels.
stuff.
Yeah, just from
Snorkeling.
Okay. I just
But the
wanna know.
problem with snorkeling,
Yeah.
I know you can hold your breath, but snorkeling, you're always looking down, sometimes from distance.
Yeah.
But like the thing about scuba is you can get below things.
Yeah, but you can take binoculars.
Nah, man, it's not the same. You can get below it, but you can go around things.
Oh.
You know, you can get under them and around, and you can get real close. It's totally different. And the sea life, it's like you can get right up to a turtle
Yeah.
and stuff
Right in
like
its
that.
face.
We did. I kept thinking my wife was going to get her nose bitten off. Like, I've seen movies.
But wait, your nose is...
Wait, turtles on a plane?
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson's Oscar-winning performance right over there, man. Because the turtles were really slow, and he had to slow down his performance for them as well. Compared to the snakes one, that was pretty
Yeah.
fast.
You need counselling. Another question from Dewey. He said, any cool rec sites to check out? Do they have rec sites, commercial and military?
Recreation,
Yeah,
right? Not
so-
wreckage.
Wreck. W-R-E-C-K.
Yeah.
Shipwreck.
Oh, that's like okay. I thought you meant like construction sites. I'm like, dude, anywhere.
Dude.
Like, I don't know what is like.
Have you been outside?
I would like to clarify. I learned English as a second language in Hong Kong, and they did not have no rec site in our textbooks.
Dude, when they said, do you have any rec sites? I said, yeah, Hong Kong Island.
Yeah, just look around you, dude. Anywhere.
Do they have any rec sites around here? Or?
Yeah. So basically, they made a marine park where you are not allowed to fish, up near kind of Double Island, so kind of just north of Sai Kung, just north of the Sai Kung Park. And this was before the handover, and so there were quite a lot of concerns that if you make a site where nobody's allowed to fish, and there's going to be a lot of fishing, then what's going to happen is that somebody's going to come in with a massive trawler, and they're going to come through
in the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night and just take it all. They didn't want that to happen, so what they did was they sunk fishing boats in a line along the entrance to make sure that if you ran a net, like try catching
It's going to get stuck on the
10,000
top of the
ton.
boats, right?
Yeah, well, so you're going to end up trying to pick up a
An actual
boat.
yeah.
and
Dude,
all
that's
of the
so
water
cool.
in it.
That's so gangster right over there, man. It's like we're not going to just put like wreckage in general. We're going to actually have an actual boat and
Boats.
sink that boat just so there's like a story that we could tell
So
people.
that
as
must
well.
be a premier place to go scuba diving.
Yeah, it's lovely. Like, it takes a little bit of time to get up there. So normally that's done as kind of a 2-day trip. So take a boat up there.
Why does it take so long to get there?
Well, you need to go round from Sai Kung to the north. There's no real kind of convenient boat facilities nearby.
Can't you just get a boat from here?
It's going to take a long time, right? Because
Really?
you need to go there and you need to come back. Hong Kong is not as small as you think it is, so it would take. It's a fair few hours of travel time, and then you're like, okay, I'd like to actually do some diving. So what you can do is you can get a boat there, dive, camp overnight, dive, and then head back, and that's a fantastic weekend. I always enjoy that.
That is so. If I went online right now and I Google, let's say wreck site Hong Kong diving, I probably see what you see under the water without the water part.
You probably see what. No.
Damn, I was hoping to get like the whole experience. Be like, yeah, I did it. Like I start telling people, oh yeah, there's.
How
this
can I
place.
avoid doing things?
Yeah, I
By
still get
Vivek
the result.
Mabubani.
Like I want the last without the setup or the punchline.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something you have to see in person. There's no shortcut to it. There's no like I can look at it, watch a movie or whatever, right?
It's more that it's a bit glib to say it's an experience, but it kind of is.
Okay. Okay.
No,
the reason I'm
the
asking-
ability to like go, okay, there's a load of fish inside a boat. Okay, that's cool.
Are they old
but-
boats?
Yeah, they're kind of old fishing boats.
Wow.
So kind of going, okay, I'm just going to pop my head inside this window and have.
Can you do that? So you can look inside the boat?
Yeah,
Wow.
and you can
That's
kind of look
cool.
around and see what you want to see.
And
You're
the
winning
fish must
again.
just be loving it.
Oh, the fish are just like, okay, what's going on here?
No, I mean for you. I mean they have boats.
Yeah, they're enjoying
Yeah.
their own little property in Hong Kong. That's
Yeah.
intense stuff. Under the water, prime property.
And is there water clarity around that area pretty good?
It's pretty good. I'd say it's less good than the area around Sai Kung. So it's a little bit more advanced diving, but it's still quite nice.
How many meters of visibility is like quite nice?
I'd say quite nice is anything beyond about 5 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Right.
5 meters. That's big, man.
No, it's not.
No, I mean like for Hong Kong.
That's as far as you can see.
yeah, but I'm saying like that's my room, like from
Yeah.
one end to the other. I'm
Yeah, but
like,
you-
I have good visibility. Terrible area.
I mean, even in the clearest water that I went, like I remember there was one day when it was just like low visibility. It really impacts the experience. You just kind of like it's like the walls are brought right in, rather
Okay.
than being like
Yeah.
looking at your big open pictures.
Yeah. So basically,
You're-
instead of the horizon, kind of like instead of seeing the horizon, you see like.
What did you
clouds
say?
and,
Did you say 3 meters or 5 meters? You said
5
You said
meters.
5 meters. Yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty close. Like you got to be.
Well, you want to be looking at stuff,
Yeah.
and the stuff that you're going to want to look at is going to be relatively close to you anyway.
Yeah.
So a lot of Hong Kong is kind of, okay, I want to go and see like crabs and lobsters, and I want to go and kind of see if I can find an octopus. And
You get to find octopus.
have a look at those guys.
Yeah.
And like going and looking at a crab that's 5 meters away is a bit boring anyway. like because it's it's a crab 5 meters away.
Yeah.
So you got rays, octopus, crabs. What else can we see? What are the cool? What's like a good day for you? Like, oh man, I saw X.
Okay, so
He saw an X underwater. That'll be the day. Like, that was my ex. Oh my goodness. he's
So my
underwater.
ex. Yeah, she had 8 arms.
Yeah, I made sure to stay in that boat. Stay under that boat.
She smelt my blood. What's the good thing to see?
yeah, I mean it depends on what you're interested in.
What are you interested in?
Okay, I quite like I quite like being able to kind of go out. So some fish are called frogfish.
Yeah.
And they're fish, and they like don't look like a frog, but they are kind of bright colors, and despite being bright colors, they manage to camouflage themselves into the environment, and they are ambush predators. So they just sit there all day, doing nothing, all day.
So they're like Vivek.
Yeah,
I was thinking, I was like, I don't know, man. This sounds a bit too familiar. I don't know where he's going with this.
Like, I like this fish.
At least I dress differently for my walls. I'll put it that way. I mean, look at me today. I'm nothing blue. But
You were in black, and you're sitting in front of a black wall.
well, that's why I have the neon light next to me.
So the ambush predator, he's not moving.
Yeah, sorry,
he's
yeah,
not
go on,
moving.
go on. Yeah.
And then at some point, something will come that he decides, okay, I'm going to eat that. And its stomach is almost the same size as the fish. And so it can eat something that's roughly its own size.
So you could
And it
take
just
your
goes,
ex down there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So that's what you're looking for. Basically, if something doesn't look right and it looks kind of like a fish shape, that might be that fish that you just mentioned.
Yeah, then they're not human sized. They're not going to eat you. But
okay.
they're kind of cool.
How big are they? Like the size of my hand?
Yeah, that kind of size.
Oh, okay. That's all right. They can just eat my hand. I mean, that I can live with that.
Anything else before we tap out here? What's like? I think we're about ready to finish. Let's close out. What do people need to know about scuba in Hong Kong?
I think that it's a thing. So the number of divers in Hong Kong is actually phenomenally high. Like the highest per capita number of divers in the world, the country with the highest number is the UK. And then immediately after that is Hong Kong. Like, there are a huge number of divers in Hong Kong. And that means that actually we have a lot of places that we can go. But the reason why there are a huge number of divers in Hong Kong is that people go from here to all of the fantastic, like, world-class diving that's on our doorstep. And now it's not, or it is, but we can't go there. And people then need to kind of think, okay, well, what do I want to do in Hong Kong? What's an activity I can do in Hong Kong? And there's so many people who don't realize that there is fantastic scuba diving actually in Hong Kong. And you can go and kind of wake up on a Saturday and go scuba diving.
It's amazing. I can't believe you can just work in an office in Hong Kong and then bang, you're scuba diving.
In the water.
That's crazy.
Insane.
The crazy thing that you said, so Hong Kong's number 2 highest density of divers in the world, population density, right? It's just a matter of time. Property developers are going to start building under the ocean. They're like, yep, the money's waiting for us. I can tell you, it's going to happen. It's going to be the worst thing ever.
Did you know Vivek actually has the highest density of the 3 people here?
Hey, I'm going to see you at the east side in Lantau Island, all right?
So, if we do a course, if you come along,
Yeah.
I can also teach you how to use a compass.
There you go.